Welcome back to Movies on the Brain, where we explore the heartwarming, magical stories that leave a lasting impression. I'm Jason, and today I'm stepping into the enchanting world of Matilda. Directed by Danny DeVito, Matilda is a timeless tale of magic, intelligence, and resilience. With standout performances from Mara Wilson, Danny DeVito, and Rhea Perlman, this film brings Roald Dahl's beloved story to life with humor, heart, and just the right amount of mischief. In Matilda, we follow a journey of self-discovery, courage, and the triumph of kindness over cruelty. Let's dive into this charming classic and see why it continues to capture the hearts of audiences everywhere. Matilda opened in theaters on August 2nd, 1996 with a budget of $36 million. During its 4-week theatrical run, it earned $33.5 million domestically and $13.5 million internationally, making a worldwide total of $47 million. Its opening weekend saw it earn $8.2 million, finishing number 3 in the box office, only behind Independence Day and A Time to Kill, numbers 2 and 1 respectively. Its final week in theaters saw it earn $2.3 million, finishing its box office run at number 13. 6-year-old Matilda Wormwood is neglected and mistreated by her parents Harry and Xenia and her older brother Michael. Smart and independent, she finds solace in books at the local library. When Matilda's parents refuse to enroll her in school, she puts peroxide in her father's hair tonic. After her father, Harry, berates her for criticizing his illegal car dealing activities, Matilda glues his hat to his head. After Harry destroys one of Matilda's library books and forces her to watch mindless television, Matilda becomes angry and the television explodes. Harry sells a car to Miss Agatha Trunchbull, the tyrannical principal of Cruncham Hall Elementary School, in exchange for admitting Matilda as a student. The other students warn Matilda about Trunchbull's abusive disciplinary methods, which include throwing out students out the window and locking them in an Iron Maiden known as the Chokey. Matilda's chief teacher, Miss Jennifer Honey, noticed the ease in which Matilda answers middle school multiplication questions and requests Matilda to be moved to a higher class, but Trunchbull refuses. The Wormwoods are not interested either. Trunchbull has the whole school watch her fourth pupil, Bruce Bogtrotter, eat an entire enormous chocolate cake as punishment for stealing a slice. Matilda leads the school in cheering Bruce to success, and Trunchbull gives them all 5 hours detention. Matilda discovers her father is under surveillance by the FBI over his illegal dealings. Her parents refuse to believe her warnings as Xenia flirts with the 2 agents who pose as speedboat salesmen. Discovering the car from Harry to be faulty, Trunchbull locks Matilda in the Chokey as punishment. Miss Honey rescues Matilda, and Matilda's friend Lavender puts a newt in Trunchbull's water jug. Trunchbull accuses Matilda, who angrily telekinetically tips the glass over, splashing the newt onto Trunchbull. Matilda is unable to reproduce her powers to Honey during a test. Honey invites Matilda to tea and reveals her past. Her mother died when she was 2, and her father Magnus invited his wife's stepmother, Trunchbull, to live with them and look after her, but Trunchbull abused her. Magnus died, apparently by suicide, when Honey was 5, and left everything to Trunchbull in his will. Matilda and Honey sneak into Trunchbull's house to retrieve some of Honey's belongings. They narrowly escape when Trunchbull unexpectedly returns. Matilda practices her telekinetic powers and drives away the FBI agents. She returns to Trunchbull's house and wreaks havoc while posing as the vengeful spirit of Magnus, but Trunchbull uncovers Matilda's ruse upon finding her hair ribbon. The next day, Trunchbull visits the class and demands that Matilda confess. Matilda, again posing as Magnus's ghost, telekinetically writes a message on the blackboard. The message accuses Trunchbull of murdering him and demands that she return Miss Honey's house and money and leave town, threatening to murder her as retribution if she does not do so. Trunchbull is driven insane by the terror and attacks the students in a rage, but Matilda protects them and they force Trunchbull out. Miss Honey moves back into her house. Harry, Xenia, and Michael come to take Matilda and flee to Guam to avoid the FBI. Matilda refuses to go, saying she would rather be adopted by Honey. Her parents sign the adoption papers, and Matilda lives happily with Honey, who becomes principal at Cruncham Hall. Now let's look at the cast and some of their other roles. Mara Wilson as Matilda Wormwood. Other roles for Mara Wilson include Liv Amara in the TV show Big Hero 6, the series, Lily in Thomas and the Magic Railroad, Annabelle in A Simple Wish. Kayla and Kelsey Fredericks as 9-month-old Matilda. This has been both Kayla and Kelsey Fredericks' only role so far. Amanda and Caitlin Fine as 2-year-old Matilda. Other roles for both Amanda and Caitlin Fine include Caitlin Stanley in Deep Impact, Teddy in Baby Geniuses, and the Freeman twins in Surviving Christmas. Sarah Magdalene as 4-year-old Matilda. This has been Sarah Magdalene's only role so far. Beth Davids as Jennifer Honey. Other roles for Beth Davids include Little Miss in Bicentennial Man, Judith in Not Okay, and Heather Turner in Retribution. Amanda and Kristen Summers as 2-year-old Jennifer. This has been the only role for both Amanda and Kristen Summers. Phoebe Garcia Pearl as 5-year-old Jennifer. This has been Phoebe Garcia Pearl's only role so far. Pam Ferris as Agatha Trunchbull. Other roles for Pam Ferris include Miriam in Children of Men, Tommy Cotter in Death to Smoochie, and Queen Victoria in Holmes and Watson. Danny DeVito as Harry Wormwood and the narrator. Other roles for Danny DeVito include Satan in the TV show Little Demons, Eddie in Jumanji The Next Level, and Chesterfield in Animal Crackers. Rhea Perlman as Xenia Wormwood. Other roles for Rhea Perlman include Ruth in Barbie, Linda in Half Magic, and Judith in Sing. Brian Levinson as Michael Wormwood. Other roles for Brian Levinson include Brian in Predator 2 and young Joey in Babyface Nelson. Nicholas Cox as 6-year-old Michael. This has been Nicholas Cox's only role so far. Paul Reubens as Bob. Before his passing in July of 2023, other roles for Paul Reubens includes Francine's Crush in Quiz Lady, J.C. Schiffer in the TV show Mosaic, and Jokey Smurf in the Smurfs 1 and 2. Tracy Walter as Bill. Other roles for Tracy Walter include Charles Embry and Aaron Brockovich, Professor Wood in How High, and One Way in The Death and Life of Bobby Z. Kiami DeVale as Lavender. Other roles for Kiami DeVale include Brianna Bridgeforth in the TV show In the House, and Shaniqua in Bruno. Jacqueline Steiger as Amanda Thripp. Other roles for Jacqueline Steiger include Layla in the TV show Force Push, Betty in An American Rhapsody, and 12-year-old Ruby in Beautiful. Jimmy Cars as Bruce Bogtrotter. The only other role Jimmy Cars has had is the studliest kid at the bar mitzvah in The Wedding Singer. Kira Spencer Hesser as Hortensia. Other roles for Kira Spencer Hesser include Olivia in Ever, the English virtual assistant in the TV show Sunny, and Ollie in the TV show Ragdolls web series. Jean Spiegel Howard as Mrs. Phelps. Before her passing in September of 2000, other roles for Jean Spiegel Howard include Olivia in The Nightcaller, Mrs. Morton in the TV show Fired Up, and Miss Gloria Smith in Where the Truth Lies. Marion Duggan as Cookie. Before her passing in March of 2015, other roles for Marion Dugan include Robin's neighbor in The Cable Guy, Mrs. Strick in Jack the Bear, and the Good Morning Usher in Brain Donors. John Lovitz as Mickey. Other roles for John Lovitz include Alex Wingrave in Love on the Rock, Conch in Extinct, and Barry in Killing Hasselhoff. No matter how many times I see this, I can't get over how cheap Harry is. Danny DeVito plays the absolute perfect slime ball. And Rhea Perlman is great as always. I've always wondered how they did the stunt with baby Matilda in the trunk. Was it a doll that she was spinning? I would assume so, because even though real babies were playing her, I doubt they put those babies through that kind of thing. The kids who were cast as 2 and 4-year-old Matilda were perfect. They looked just like Mara Williams. Great casting choices. And I do absolutely love the transition of going from 4-year-old Matilda pulling her wagon to 6.5 Matilda, now played by Mara Wilson, pulling what I assume is the same wagon full of books. How Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman didn't crack during some of their scenes will never cease to amaze me, or how Mara Wilson didn't crack when she was sneaking into her parents' room and Xenia sat up with her mask over her eyes. I genuinely think Matilda laughing when Harry screamed and fell over was actually Mara Wilson laughing, and they kept it in because it fit. Maybe I'm wrong, but it sure seemed that way to me. Seeing Paul Rubens not playing an over the top character is weird, but I like how he is in this movie. Harry saying nobody ever got rich by being honest is actually something to really think about. One of the more underrated quotes in this movie, I really feel like. The whole hat thing in the restaurant is funny, and credit to Rhea Perlman. If it was her that flipped over the table, I can almost bet Danny DeVito hated having to force Mara Wilson to watch TV, but being the professional he is, he's playing the role of the hateful father perfectly. That bit of sarcasm from Harry when Mr. Trunchbull says she's glad she wasn't ever a child was so well placed, and that entire scene is so well shot, with us only being able to see their silhouettes. Pam Ferris is intimidating as Miss Trunchbull, playing her character here perfectly. I'd have hated having her as a principal, honestly. Mrs. Honey reminds me of a few of my teachers I had in high school, particularly my second and fourth grade teachers. Apparently, Miss Trunchbull is only 5'7", but the way the camera is with her makes her seem like she's over 6 foot tall. That's absolutely incredible camera work. Now I know it's done in post production, but the giant gulp from Bruce, Miss Trunchbull grabs the knife and pulls it in front of his face is honestly something I'd do if I were in his place. Having an assembly and having the other kids watch one boy eat cake is something I would imagine any principal on a power trip would do, no matter how unsettling or uncomfortable it got. I was looking into Marion Dugan, who plays Cookie in this, and she looked like the sweetest lady. So for her to look like she does in this is wild, almost as wild as her living to be 106 years old. And that just had to be sugar glass that was broke over Bruce's head. It just had to be, or something that breaks easily without pain. Great scene, and honestly, I do like that the glass breaking over Bruce's head was how the other students got silent. Miss Trunchbull putting Matilda in the chokey for her dad selling her a lemon is atrocious. I still can't get over how Pam Ferris is in this. She makes it just so easy to hate her. Someone as big and scary as Miss Trunchbull being scared of black cats is funny to me, but it's also reflective of real life on how the biggest and scariest people are scared of the smallest things. If I were to see someone jump from the second floor to the first floor, I'd have had the same reaction Matilda did. That entire scene where Matilda and Miss Honey are in Miss Trunchbull's house is so well shot. So many awesome misdirects. Even though Harry can't stand Matilda, she still helped him with the FBI. I guess that's from being around Miss Honey, or at least that's my headcanon. I bet Pam Ferris was loving making the kids laugh when she was being attacked by the erasers, especially with how she had treated them the entire movie. That line by Xenia at the end was kind of heartbreaking about Matilda being her only daughter and not understanding her. The way Rhea Perlman delivered that line made you actually feel bad for her. Overall, it's a fantastic movie with great actors and great chemistry between everybody involved. And the rewatch for this review proved it's still probably one of my favorite movies ever. Now, some fun facts and trivia. And I'm starting off with kind of a dark one, but a touching one at the same time. It's one I'm sure everyone's heard before. Mara Wilson's mother, Susie Shapiro Wilson, died of breast cancer while the movie was being filmed. Mara honored her mother bravely by finishing Matilda, which was dedicated to her mother's memory. Mara's mother died during production of the film. Mara had thought for years that her mother had never gotten to see the completed film. But years later, Danny DeVito revealed that he had shown her mom a rough cut of what they had filmed shortly before she died. The picture of Miss Honey's father, Magnus, is actually a portrait of Roald Dahl, the author of the book Matilda, upon which the film is based. In stark contrast to their characters, Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman became very close to Mara Wilson during production. According to Wilson, DeVito and Perlman would often let her stay at their home and keep her entertained while her father was working and her mother was in the hospital receiving cancer treatments. Pam Ferris often stayed in character when the director called cut to scare the children on set so that their fear of Miss Trunchbull would be genuine when the camera was rolling. Mara Wilson had been a fan of the book since the age of 4, when she had overheard her mother reading it to other children. After the success of Miracle on 34th Street, Matilda was among many scripts she was offered. She chose it immediately. Bette Midler, Catherine O'Hara, and Julie Kavner were considered for the role of Xenia Wormwood. Mariska Hargitay, Winona Ryder, Helen Hunt, Tori Amos, and Rosie O'Donnell were considered for the role of Miss Honey. Bob Hoskins, Tim Allen, Joe Pesci, John Goodman, Robert De Niro, Chevy Chase, and Bill Murray were considered for the role of Harry Wormwood. Miriam Margolyes, Kathy Bates, Maggie Kirkpatrick, and Magda Sabansky were considered for the role of Miss Trunchbull. And Richard Dreyfuss was also considered for the role of Harry Wormwood. I forgot to add that in top. And that's a wrap on my review of Matilda. This film is a heartwarming celebration of intelligence, resilience, and the power of standing up for what's right, all wrapped in a magical, unforgettable package. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and subscribe to Movies on the Brain for more looks at family classics and magical stories. Let me know in the comments, what was your favorite moment of Matilda? Did it inspire the bookworm or the rebel in you? Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, sometimes all you need is a little magic and a whole lot of courage.